long. I just wanted you to be aware of some of the things that are required legally for you. All of this is linked in your handout. Actually, I linked the CAN-SPAM Act, which is the United States laws regarding email marketing. And I also linked Canada's laws and the EU's laws regarding marketing, because because we have folks from all over the world, but also if you're sending from the place, the laws apply to you, but also if you're sending to the place, the laws apply to you. So keep that in mind. So if you have folks from different places, keep in mind that those laws also apply to you. So the CAN-SPAM Act is laws that govern commercial marketing, commercial email marketing, and it's not just bulk email, it's any commercial communication. So it's 7 points that we'll run through very quickly. We've talked about some of these things already. So don't use false or misleading header information. So that applies to your from field, your to field, and your reply to field. Don't use deceptive subject lines. So things like clickbait, right? Everything in your subject line, every subject line should be accurate to the content. You need to identify the message as an ad if it is an ad. And I looked around trying to figure out if I did not see any, in any newsletters I was looking at, I didn't see things flagged as an ad. I'm not an expert in this at all, but what I did find was somebody said that if someone opts into your email, then you wouldn't need to flag it as an ad. But if you want to be safe and flag it, they aren't very particular on how to mark it as an ad. You don't have to do it in the subject line. You don't have to do it at the beginning, as long as it's not like hidden somewhere. If you do have an ad in your email, you do absolutely have to mark it as an ad legally. So do some more research on that if you're using advertisements, because obviously not my area of expertise. The other thing you need to do in terms of content is tell recipients where you're located, and that includes a valid physical address that has to be in your newsletter. I would recommend not putting your street address. You can use an address from your studio if you have one, office if you have one, or if you don't have those things, I would recommend setting up a PO box and using that for your newsletter. And then you also must have a way for your subscribers to unsubscribe. And most of the email platforms will take care of that for you. But also there's instructions. If you look up the CAN-SPAM Act, they have a lot of, if you're doing it yourself, a lot of more detail about the laws regarding that. But most of the platforms will include an unsubscribe function for you. Now, also, you must honor opt-out requests promptly. Again, this might be handled for you, but they said within 10 days of getting the request, you have to honor it. And the last point is just that if someone else is handling your newsletter content for you, you are still liable to make sure that your newsletters are covering all these bases, all these previous 6 bases. So you're still required to do these things. Even if someone's taken over for you, you'll just both get in trouble, basically is what they're saying. So make sure that all these things, that your physical address is on there, that you have an unsubscribe button, all those things are present in the email. A couple other things that are not part of the CAN-SPAM Act, but are still relevant to email newsletters. The first is make sure that the email addresses of your newsletter recipients aren't visible to the other recipients by using BCC, but again, will be taken care of by the platform most likely. Privacy policy is always a good idea, even just for your website, even if you did not have a newsletter, because anytime you're collecting any sort of data, including just an email address, those should be protected by a privacy policy. And I know the previous webinars covered this and gave an example of it as well. So, but you can link that right under your subscribe button. And then make sure that everyone that's getting your newsletter has opted in. So don't send it to anyone who hasn't opted in, because again, then that would get you into the advertisement territory. And you want to make sure that it's just folks who have asked for it that are getting it. All right, and then the final tips that I have before our last Q&A is Just consider your newsletter from the point of view of your subscribers, from those profiles that you fill out the worksheet for. And if you have fun writing it, they're going to have fun reading it, undoubtedly. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can just, start sending it and then improve upon it each time. The key to your success starts with the size of your list, because the more people you have on your subscriber list, the more people that are going to open them. Remember that open rates are very low. So don't get down on yourself. If you had a 25% open rate, that's a good open rate. I told you 12 and 18% earlier. So don't be discouraged if you're seeing those sorts of numbers. And also turn off your unsubscribe notifications, because you don't need to know when people are leaving the newsletter. That's just not the type of negativity you need.